Welcome to Module 2 of 1016 MSc, the Muscular System. In this module, we will cover 5 separate topics. In the first topic, 2.1, we will become familiar with the nature of the muscular system and some terminology. Open your workbook to Module 2, Topic 2.1, and try to answer some of the questions that relate to the content covered during this mini-lecture. The learning outcomes for Topic 2.1 are to be able to distinguish the characteristics of different types of muscle tissue, describe the arrangement of the structural components of skeletal muscle, describe the functions of skeletal muscle, use correct terminology to name muscles, and use correct terminology to describe movements created by muscles at joints. Muscle tissue includes all contractile tissues, such as skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. Before we begin to take a look at a number of specific skeletal muscles, their actions, their origins, and their insertions, let's compare the different muscle tissue types. Skeletal muscle tissue contains obvious stripes called striations. Although skeletal muscle is often activated by a reflex response, we term skeletal muscle voluntary muscle because it is subject to conscious control. We can decide whether we contract skeletal muscle or not. Skeletal muscle tissue is made of the long cylindrical fibers that are multinucleate. That is, each skeletal muscle cell contains multiple nuclei. A single muscle cell can be up to 30 centimeters long. The strength of skeletal muscle contraction can vary. For example, in one instance, only a small force is required when picking up a light object, such as a paperclip. However, the same muscles are capable of producing much greater power when lifting a heavy saucepan. Skeletal muscle has the ability to contract rapidly, but also fatigue easily. Cardiac muscle tissue is only found in the walls of the heart. Like skeletal muscle, it is striated in appearance. However, it is not under voluntary control, as we do not have conscious control over how fast our heart beats. Unlike skeletal muscle tissue, cardiac muscle cells are short, fat, branched, and interconnected via intercalated discs, which interlock with adjacent cardiac cells. This is a special anatomical feature that reflects its blood-pumping role, so that the cells remain functionally coordinated and contract as one unit. Contractile cardiac muscle cells contain only 1 or 2 nuclei, so they are termed uninucleate or binucleate. Smooth muscle tissue is found in the walls of hollow visceral organs, like the stomach and the respiratory passages. Unlike skeletal and cardiac muscle, it does not have any striations, but, like cardiac muscle, smooth muscle is not subject to voluntary control. It consists of elongated cells that are fusiform in shape. That is, they are larger in the middle, where the nucleus is located, and then they are tapered at the end. They only contain 1 nucleus and are responsible for slow, sustained contractions. The images in this table may help with your understanding of the differences in the structure of the 3 different types of muscle tissue. Skeletal muscle is attached to bones and contracts to produce movements about a joint. Skeletal muscle cells are very long and cylindrical in shape, containing multiple nuclei with obvious striations, and contraction is under voluntary control. Cardiac muscle is found in the walls of the heart and contains branching chains of cells with only 1 or 2 nuclei and striations. Contraction of the cardiac muscle cells is under involuntary control. Smooth muscle is found in the walls of hollow visceral organs and are fusiform in shape, containing only 1 nucleus and no striations. Smooth muscle cells are also under involuntary control. There are 4 special characteristics that enable skeletal muscle to perform optimally. The excitability of muscle tissue refers to its ability to receive and respond to a stimulus by altering its membrane potential. In the case of a muscle, the stimulus is usually a chemical such as a neurotransmitter that is released by a neuron. Contractility is the ability of a muscle to shorten forcibly, which is different from all other tissue types. Extensibility is the muscle's ability to extend or stretch. The elasticity of a muscle cell relates to its ability to recoil and resume its resting length after being stretched. Additionally, muscles have at least 4 important functions. They produce movement. Contraction of skeletal muscle allows locomotion and manipulation of fine objects. The rhythmic beating of the muscle cells in the heart allows blood to be pumped around the body, and contraction of smooth muscle in the walls of the digestive system propels substances along the tract. Skeletal muscles also contract to maintain body posture. They make constant tiny adjustments to counteract the effect of gravity. As skeletal muscles contract, they strengthen and stabilize the joints of the skeleton. And finally, as muscles contract, they generate heat, which helps maintain normal body temperature. Each skeletal muscle is a discrete organ, made up of many different tissues, including skeletal muscle fibers, blood vessels, nerve fibers, and a large amount of connective tissue. Essentially, each skeletal muscle is served by one nerve, one artery, and one or many veins, which branch profusely through connective tissue located within and around the skeletal muscle. Several different connective tissue sheaths wrap individual muscle fibers, providing them with support and reinforcement during strong muscle contractions. The innermost connective tissue covering is the endomysium. It is a fine, wispy layer surrounding each individual muscle fiber. A group of these muscle fibers bundled together is known as a fascicle. The perimysium is a layer of dense, irregular connective tissue surrounding each fascicle. Thirdly, the epimysium is the outside layer, or dense, irregular connective tissue surrounding the whole muscle. The epimysium may blend with the deep fascia that lies between adjacent muscles, or the superficial fascia, laying next to the skin. Let's try some revision. Name the connective tissue covering that is marked with the letter A. The answer is epimysium, the outermost covering of the whole muscle. Which is the layer marked B? This is the perimysium, the layer surrounding each fascicle. That leaves which layer marked C? This is the endomysium, the innermost connective tissue covering. Skeletal muscles and joints are attached to bone in at least 2 places. The origin is the less movable bone, and the insertion is the more movable bone. Generally speaking, when a muscle contracts, the point of insertion moves closer to the point of origin. The attachment itself may be direct, where the epimysium of the muscle is fused to the periosteum of the bone. Or the attachment may be indirect, where the connective tissue layering extends beyond the muscle into a rope-like tendon, which then anchors the muscle to the connective tissue covering of the bone. Tendons are usually tough collagen fibers that withstand bony abrasion, which would tear more delicate muscle tissue apart. Skeletal muscles are named according to multiple criteria. Some muscles are named based on their distinctive shapes, such as the orbicularis oris, which is circular in shape, surrounding the mouth. The deltoid muscle, which means triangular, and the trapezius muscle, from the word trapezoid, are two other examples of where the shape of the muscle has dictated its name. The muscle may gain its name because of its size. The gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the body. Gluteus minimus is the smallest of the gluteal muscles. Longus meaning long, and brevis meaning short. Some muscles are named according to their location. The temporalis muscle lies over the temporal bone, and the zygomaticus muscles lie above the facial bone of its same name. Some muscles are named for their direction, in which the muscle fibers travel. For example, rectus abdominis travels straight up and down. Transversus abdominis fibers run in a transverse or horizontal direction. The external oblique muscles of the abdomen run on the diagonal or in an oblique direction. The term pennate refers to the oblique orientation of some muscle fibers to their tendinous attachment. If the muscle has multiple heads or origins, it may be named accordingly. For example, biceps brachii has 2 heads, triceps brachii has 3 heads, and the quadriceps muscle has 4 heads, or points of origin. Lastly, the muscle may be named according to its action. Adductor magnus is a large medial thigh muscle that adducts the hip, or brings the thigh back towards the midline. Before we go on, let's review the anatomical position and body movements. Flexion occurs when the angle between 2 bones is reduced. Extension is a result of an increase in the angle between 2 bones. Rotation refers to the movement of a bone, turning around its long axis. This might include medial or internal rotation, or lateral or external rotation. Abduction describes movement of the bone or limb away from the midline, and adduction brings the limb back towards the midline. Other terms are used to describe specialized movements at the foot and ankle. These include dorsiflexion and plantar flexion of the ankle, and inversion and eversion of the foot. While there are more than 600 skeletal muscles in the human body, don't be overwhelmed at having to learn all of them just yet. We will be grouping the muscles into functional regions and selecting several key muscles in each of these areas to discuss. First of all, we will be looking at a few muscles in the head and neck. Then the thorax and abdomen, followed by the upper limb, the lower limb, and then some other selected muscles associated with respiration and the pelvic floor. If you focus on the functional anatomy of the muscle, that is, applying your knowledge in a practical way, it will help consolidate your learning for the long term. Remembering the name of the muscle, where it originates, and where it inserts will help you understand its action. Myology is the study of the structure, arrangement, and action of muscles. When describing the actions of the muscle, always remember to state the joint and the movement, such as elbow flexion, knee extension, or hip external rotation. it's important to understand the following terms and to utilize them when describing specific muscles. Muscles in the same compartment or location generally perform the same action. The agonist is the muscle that performs the action or a specific movement. The prime mover is the agonist that is most responsible for the movement. The antagonists are muscles whose action opposes the agonist action. The antagonist is located in the opposite compartment from the agonist. Synergists are muscles that work together to perform the same task and are generally located in the same compartment. Fixators are synergists that contract together to stabilize a joint. Let's look at an example. Here we can see the biceps brachii muscle, so named for its two heads or 2 points of origin, the biceps, and its location as it runs along the upper arm, otherwise known as the brachium. The long head of the biceps brachii originates on the supraglenoid tubercle, and the short head originates on the coracoid process of the scapula. The biceps brachii inserts by common tendon into the radial tuberosity. Because the biceps brachii is located in the anterior compartment of the upper limb and it crosses over the elbow joint when it contracts, it causes elbow flexion. Let's look in a little more detail at the functions of the muscles surrounding the elbow joint during elbow flexion. The biceps brachii located in the anterior compartment is the agonist for elbow flexion and is also the prime mover. The triceps brachii is the antagonist to elbow flexion and it is located in the posterior compartment of the upper limb and inserts by common tendon into the olecranon of the ulna. Brachioradialis originates on the supracondylar ridge of the humerus and inserts on the radial styloid process. When it contracts, the brachioradialis acts in synergy with biceps brachii to cause the elbow to flex. So, in summary, the action is elbow flexion, while the function of the biceps brachii is to be the agonist. The triceps brachii is the antagonist, and the brachioradialis is the synergist for the movement. Pause the video and try these few review questions which you will find located in your workbooks. Let's consider some more muscles. Where would you find them? Orbicularis oculi, rectus abdominis, tibialis anterior, sternocleidomastoid, and quadriceps femoris. Use your knowledge of anatomical terminology to help locate these muscles, writing your answers in your workbooks. This is the end of mini lecture topic 2.1. Please continue with mini lecture 2.2.